a really quick preface, whatever it's called. I've already not made it quick. My whole life I've struggled with ADHD, and sometimes I don't finish sentences, and I have fragmented thought processes. For the most part, I've put this video together where it makes sense. Luckily, I've edited it to a point where it's all going to make sense. So I hope you enjoy it, and any comments or suggestions, I would absolutely love it in the description below. So welcome to my Dungeons & Dragons talk for the World of Legon, which is a campaign that me and my friend, have been doing since 1980 something. Recorded online from 1999 to now. So even recorded, it's 21, 22 years. It's actually 30 some years that we've been playing. But let's not talk about how old I am. For this, I mean, I could sit here and talk about how it was created and everything. You can jump online and see. I have the website up here. So you just go to Legon Info. You can find out how this all started, and then all the general information and everything that's in regards to Legon right here. I watch a lot of people online that do this. I'm not trying to be them, wanting to show people my campaign that I've been doing for over 30 years. And now you can go onto Google and do World of Legon and hit search on the first one that pops up now. So as simple as that, and you can get to the website. What I'm going to talk about today, though, is magic, because I feel like magic is a little more unique in this world. I feel like it has a few twists to it that maybe people haven't thought about, or something that could be in a new campaign, in a new world that someone might think about doing. I'm pretty much just going to be on this page, and I'm just going to kind of read off of it and talk to you about it. Now, the magic in the World of Legon. In Legon, magic is... That didn't take long. The first sentence, and I'm already tripping over myself. In Legon, magic is banned because it is highly unpredictable and very dangerous. In this page, I have little clips of things that actually have happened in the campaign. Just wait. Want to know how I got on the boat? Camaro says, with an eyebrow raised. She grabs some goop from her pouch, rubs it on her wrists. Cassie recognizes spell components and starts to unsheath her weapon. Xavier stops her and gives her sister a look. Camaro writes a symbol in the air, and that the air holds with a faint golden glow, and she says a word, Navidin, and she slowly disappears. Cassie cringes and then looks around. Xavier's eyes are real big. Xavier, apart from being a little wigged out, says, "That was pretty awesome." Cassie hits him and gives him a scolding glance. Not awesome. It could have blew us all to pieces. Episode 39, The Connection. With that, you're going, well, why would we blow the piece? She just disappeared. That's just magic. We're getting to it. The basics of magic on Legon. In the world of Legon, magic is based in 6 elements. Those 6 are earth, wind, fire, and water, with good and evil. So that's the little twist to it. The 4 basic elements are common knowledge. Hello, everyone knows them. What the people don't realize is that good and evil guide those elements during the casting. So yeah, you have those 4 elements, and they're abundant throughout the world. And to cast the magic, they have to be there. So they're there. They're fine. But to actually control the magic, there has to be good and evil. The year 348 on Legon is missing one key component to spellcasting, and it is evil. Between prophecies and ambitious citizens, there has been an aggressive push to have the demigod Finster ascend to the god plane. This will align all 6 elements and allow magic to safely be used again. Now, there's only one god right now, and that's Animax. The demigod Finster, his soul is stuck in between, where he can sometimes manifest himself into the world. But for the most part, he's in like a purgatory. He's trying to ascend into the god plane. A quick backstory on Finster: he was a character that I created back in the 80s, 1980s. He was a evil cleric, and I campaigned with him for 5 or 6 years, and we played a lot back then, probably 2-3 times a month, if not more. Each element has some weak spell possibilities. So in other words, if you're an earth witch, you can have something grow and do it safely without any repercussions. Trying to do a more complicated spell that would take mana, which I'm going to get into. Yeah, mana is kind of a stolen term from a lot of different things, but it's the best way to describe what everyone has, which I'm going to explain in a little bit. So each element has some weak spell possibilities, and alignments are completely dependent on the corresponding god. So between Finster and Animax, they provide magic to certain people, people that they pick out. There are some who have distorted the elemental magic, but it comes with a price. Overall, magic on Legon is dangerous, and where it is not, it is weak and sketchy. So another clip. Cassie starts talking. When magic is trying to be used, the 4 base elements are present and good. There is no evil component available on Legon. Imagine a railed cart going down a slope. Now imagine it without one of the rails. Sure, some of them will make it and the spells work. Other times it falls off and tumbles down a ravine or explodes into a million pieces. Chance nods his head, eyes wide. So that's why everything about magic is so dangerous. Episode 28, Gods Walk Among Us. Some magic can be performed safely on Legon, and it is derived from elemental magic as well as good. For this section, we will discuss elemental magic. To even understand magic, one must possess the ability to understand and comprehend it. It's good English by me. Anyone equal or below an intelligence score of 12 can never perform magic of any kind. Probably a natural way to protect the lesser intelligent people of Legon. Makes sense though. If you just can't comprehend it, you can't use it. Obviously, the higher the intelligence, the more they understand and the better they can perform it. Wisdom is tied in with the incantations as well. A low wisdom score means a much higher failure rate. With a high wisdom score allows faster, more precise incantations along with some possible bonuses. So, typical Dungeons & Dragons stuff. You're smart and you have good wisdom, you're going to do good with this. So, you can read the following classes that go along with it. Magic bestowed upon people of Legon. Now this is where the gods start to come in. The quarter elf looks over to her. Dark symbols and shapes form on his face. His eyes turn from the orangish red to a deep vibrating blue. High Priestess of Animax, Rosalinda stops twirling her staff, backs up, stumbles, and falls to the wall with a heavy thud. The priestess's eyes reflect the power and are huge with fear. Animax, help me, she yells in terror. The new anointed champion of Finster looks left, then he looks right, and then back at the red-headed woman trembling in fear. Hate to tell you this, but he is not here. And you do not want to make me as your enemy. Episode 31, Acceptance. When it comes to good and evil, Animax and Finster are the gods of those magical elements. They have the ability to bestow the power into them so that they can perform certain magical feats. Now it goes further in like what Animax can do. They're called tiers of Animax, so he can provide magic. A priest, priestess, deacon, scribe, cleric, druid, monk, and mender. Pretty basic stuff. You can read more about it here. Also, the specific classes, I have a whole page on it too. Now, Finster, he's a little more in-depth. There's Champion, which is Chance at this point. Priest, Priestess, Vizier, Shade, Invoker, and Tempest. A lot of these are present in the game. In fact, the last couple episodes, there's an Invoker called Rowick, and he had a invocation, and it is spelled correctly. People are like, oh, it's not spelled. No, this is the invoke. It's now I can sit here and explain stuff for 25 minutes, and I'm not going to. Just know that there's an under earth, and that they can draw things up from there, including magic, creatures, whatever it might be. Once they get powerful, they're extremely dangerous. They're very rare though. Right now, there's only probably like 3 on Legon, and one is Rowick, the other is Luella, who is just learning her abilities, and then the other one, we're going to wait on that one. Okay, so how magic works on Legon. If magic was viable, or for the only true mage on Legon is Chimera, so she's a main character in the campaign that's happening right now. Every spell that is cast requires mana, a physical component, an identification symbol, and a spoken word. Now, while I'm reading this, think about this as a database. The physical component grounds the spell, okay? Gives the incantation the wordly ability to manifest. So it's just not going to come out of nowhere. It's just not going to magically happen. It has to have a location. So just think about this as like firing up the computer. The symbol signifies the category of the spell, whether it be destruction, illusion, etc. It's almost like accessing the top category. So we're going to say, I access destruction. And then the spoken word. You say, fuego is a fireball. So that defines what spell underneath that particular category. So you have the physical component. That's telling the world, okay, I'm starting a spell. This is what's happening. Then the symbol, traced, is saying, okay, I know you're doing a spell. Now you're going to be doing a spell that's in a certain category. What category is it? You speak the word. Okay, that's it. So you've drilled down to the point of that's the spell, and out it comes. I hope I explained it. Okay, it's once you really think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's the way we've been doing it for decades. It just annoys the piss out of me watching shows where just magic just, oh, there you go, like that. Every spell as cast requires mana, a physical component, and identification symbol. Okay, so the symbol signifies the category of the spell, whether it be destruction. The spoken word zeroes in on the specific. The spoken word zeroes in on the specific spell that is being cast, almost like you are accessing it in a database. With enough mana and the 3 steps complete, the spell will finalize and manifest. So I just kind of go over it again.
Physical component grounds a spell to the physical realm, helps identify the type of spell. Symbol puts the spell into a certain category, whether it be destruction, illusion, etc. Spoken word identifies a particular spell in that category to manifest. Mana is the amount of magic someone has.
So, these are not spoken in the right order, or if they are done too slow, the spell will fail. The current state of Legon, the failure could range from nothing happening, that magic never triggered, to a stinking cloud, to a similar style nuclear explosion. Thus the reason magic is banned everywhere. Because if you fail and there's a nuclear explosion, hundreds of thousands of people are going to die. The power of the spell depends on the level of the caster, their intelligence, and their wisdom. The difficulty of the spell also relates to how much mana it costs below, explained below. Example, a fireball spell that does 1d6 damage might only do 1d4 with a 2nd level magician with a bad wisdom and marginal intelligence score. It could do 2d6 with an 8th level magician with a high wisdom and intelligence score. It is usually predetermined by the player ahead of time. Many things have to be taken into account. In a windy field, throwing dust in the air could severely change the spell or trajectory. And that actually happened. Chimera was wanting to do a firewall to try and protect them from the owlbears that were coming after him. She threw up in the air, but the owlbear was way quicker than she thought, and his inertia with the wind coming blew everything back, and she was just saying the word for it to fight, and it just exploded around her. So if you're out in a field and there's 40-mile-an-hour winds, you're going to struggle with magic at any cost, at any level, unless you can hold it in your hand or something. Tracing the wrong symbol or doing it sloppy could make the spell fail or worse. Words spoken poorly, unintelligent, could also make the spell fail or worse. Okay, now what mana is? It is what is inside everyone. Sure. Mana is what everyone has on Legon. Most people can't access it. Even more people have no idea it exists, but it is what allows an individual to cast a spell. Doing any kind of small little tiny spells that has nothing to do with mana. It doesn't draw from their mana at all. If anything draws from their mana, that's when things get dangerous. Everyone starts with 3 mana. Child, teen, adult, elder, everyone will have at least 3 mana. Like explained before, 12 intelligence or less results in no access or understanding of this craft. As a mage advances, they will receive more mana, much like if you work out a muscle all the time, it will grow stronger. How much depends on intelligence, wisdom, and levels. The following is a chart you can follow. You can jump online and see that. To regain their mana, it works in 24-hour increments. To find the regeneration of mana, you will divide amount of mana by 24 hours. So if Chimera has 15 mana and there's 24 hours in a day, every 1.6 hours she will regain 1 point of mana. Every hour and a half they will get 1 mana returned to them. Whether they sleep, run a marathon, battle, or dying, the mana returns at the same speed no matter what. If Chimera uses 8 mana, it will take her 12 hours to regain her full mana back. So when magic fails, now this is the reason why it's been banned, everyone is in danger. There was a time in history of Legon, more exact the history of Camarindale, that truly started this fear of magic. A great battle ensued on the forefront of the growing town of what would eventually become Camarindale. The newly erected walls were getting beat down by trebuchets and catapults. But for Redford, that was the king then, it was not enough. He ordered his court magician to do something to expedite the removal of the wall. The mage told the king of its dangers, but he did not care. Upon casting his spell, it failed. A ear-ringing noise was heard, and an explosion with a circular wave expanding out started. The mage was killed instantly. Everyone in a radius of 100 yards took great damage. Lower-level guards and fighters died instantly. Even 500 yards it was felt with damage and a wall of power that knocked everyone over, as well as weaker points of the wall. Tragic beginning of Camarindale. There's a straight 50% chance of a spell failure. There are no bonuses. Note, if the champion is present, in champion form, the spell will work automatically. You need evil for it to be guided, since Chance is the champion, which is second only to Finster. He can channel that. Then I kind of go over what can happen from nothing to nuclear style explosions, stuff like that. Again, this is very detailed. Overuse, distortions, and other ramifications. These veins on her arm, I believe they are marks of retaliation. When someone distorts or misuses base elemental magic, the elemental retaliates. I am getting a getting lots of that, so sorry. When someone distorts or misuses base elemental magic, the elemental retaliates in its own way, drains life forces, and the like, Cullen says, while looking over the unconscious witch. I don't think they understand the true ramifications of misusing elemental magic. Episode 41, Dagger Point. Abusing elemental magic. There are ways to boost magic and its power, but it comes at a great price. It is called the retaliation, and there's a way to protect the integrity of the magical elements. Each time the distortion of magic is used, it takes away from the life force of the individual 1d4 permanent damage. Permanent. After 3 times, 1 point of constitution will be removed. Permanently. The overuse of mana. Much like the abuse of elemental, the overuse of mana comes at a cost to the player. It varies depending on how far they overuse. 1 point, the player can't use magic for 24 hours, no mana will return during this time, all bonuses of any kind are disabled. 2 to 4 points. Now there's an episode called Mud and Blood where you can read about how bad it can get. 2 to 4 points is what happened to Chimera. 2 to 4 points, the player is incapacitated. Headaches, no energy, and no ability to do anything. They lose the ability to perform magic. They lose the ability to perform magic for 3 days, and no mana will return to them during that time. They also take a 1d4 damage permanently. And they roll a 1d4, they get 2, they're down to 58. That's it. They've lost 2 hit points permanently. Now if they go 5 points over mana, the player goes into a coma for 1 week. No mana will return to them for 2 weeks' time. No magic can be performed in that time frame. They will also take 2d4 damage permanently. They will lose either 1 point of intelligence or 1 point of wisdom. So it can be very dangerous going over the mana. Then it kind of goes into standalone psionics and healing abilities. There's lots of characters that I've created that kind of have their own ability. And it has nothing to do with mana. It has to do with certain type of people. Now, Todd is always curious how these are. In my head, some outside force came down into Legon, and they had psionics. They were able to heal or see far or telepathy. They intermingled with the population, and they kind of interjected their blood with these kind of abilities to certain people and bloodlines. Next thing I know, she strips down and gets in the water and then beckons me to come in the water. He says again, trailing off. No, please don't, oh son of a... Brittany says, shaking her head, realizing what the princess and Chance did. They had sex. Now it all makes sense. Cassie is the princess's mom, and she can read minds to a point. I don't believe she is 100% human. I'm not sure what else she is. Episode 10. Oh, so you can read minds. That's the name of the episode. That's essentially what magic is on Legon. Broken it down the best I can. Obviously when Finster ascends, if and when a Finster ascends, this is all going to kind of change. I figure when that point happens, I'm just going to point at Dungeons & Dragons 5e and say, okay, that is what we're going to use for spells now. Because you can go to known spells here, and I just have some of the ones that she's used. But see, each one has physical sand, illusion, a word, and mana. When I get the word, I put in light in a translator, and it has like 40 languages, and I pick the coolest word. That really, if you look up Vulgus, it's probably Eastern European for light. That is it for Magic on Legon. I hope that I didn't bore everyone too much, and this wasn't too confusing, but there's always more to do. Feel free to go to worldoflegon.com and look through. This isn't something that I'm making money off. I put hours and hours a week into it just because I love it, and I just wanted other people to enjoy it too. That's all.